question. Are snipers and sharpshooters the same?
Sir, no, sir!
All right, but can you tell the difference between these two roles?
Sir, no, sir!
No problem, friend. Today, you'll learn exactly what they do and more. Greetings, comrade. Welcome to warfare today. Snipers and sharpshooters, the vanguards of precision, the elite shooters of the force. But before delving into their differences, let's discuss what these two kinds of warriors have in common. Of course, each branch of the armed forces endeavors to select the best-suited candidates for each role. However, the kind of skill that sets the pros apart from regular individuals is something that must be cultivated, much like a sculptor chisels a rock. The armed forces transform ordinary men into experts, and this level of skill comes at a price. Hundreds of hours of intense and exhausting training sessions through a wide range of skills. Just to mention a few examples, these soldiers are exposed to, beyond the basic curriculum training routines for medium and long-range shots, both with stationary and moving targets. They emphasize focusing and concentrating on the target regardless of the setting, as well as learning how to position themselves in the best possible angle in order to fulfill the mission. This positioning requires the shooter to have mental and physical endurance to stay still for hours and hours, as sometimes the perfect shot might take quite a while to line up. They learn breathing control techniques which help them to control their heartbeats and diminish the chances of involuntary movements when pulling the trigger. They also train in directional orientation in the field and real-time measurement of data like temperature, wind speed, and atmospheric pressure, which are the main factors to consider when taking down targets from long ranges. They also undergo advanced camouflage training in various environments. And this camouflage obviously isn't limited to the operator, but also applies to their weaponry. After all, there's no infiltration without stealth, right? Sure, there are many other principles and techniques, and each of them vary from country to country, but to cut it short, I'll focus on core elements to most elite shooters, okay? And since we established common ground, let's now focus on what makes them different. This type of shooter is commonly assigned to missions where the target, generally a high-value individual, must be hit from distances above 300 meters. Taking down these individuals without casualties is generally what determines if a mission was or wasn't a success. Snipers typically operate alone or in pairs, with each sniper accompanied by a spotter, which is also a trained sniper, meaning all the movements and procedures carried out by one are perfectly understood by the other, since they both receive the same training. The spotter has the crucial role of gathering the necessary data for the sniper to make the most accurate shot possible, such as the exact distance to the target, the exact angle, all possible data about the weather just mentioned, and stuff like that. The goal is precisely to neutralize the target with the first shot. Otherwise, the chance of a disaster happening is enormous, especially in situations involving hostages. Furthermore, the spotter, or even the sniper, can use their long-range telescopic scopes to provide strategic information to their command center. This kind of information includes things like the number of combat vehicles parked at a base, the quantity of soldiers, the level of anti-aircraft defenses, potential escape routes for enemies, coordinates for sending airstrikes or artillery attacks, and various other possible details. Now, getting back to the shooting aspect, for snipers to achieve the necessary high precision to neutralize the threat in the first attempt, they typically use rifles with manually operated bolts, which are globally known as bolt-action rifles. These firearms have attributes that make single shots at long distances much easier. Among the key features of these guns is a low number of moving parts in their internal mechanism, minimizing the risk of malfunctions and reducing vibration during firing. Next, there's the floating barrel, which is attached at a single point and connected directly at the chamber's exit. This type of barrel fixation allows it to oscillate more naturally during firing. While this oscillation is totally imperceptible at the moment of the shot, it can be perfectly captured through a camera filming in ultra-slow motion. Snipers also use rifles with barrels of at least 20 inches length. In a simplified and generalized manner, I can tell you that longer barrels help the projectile gain more speed and rotation, resulting in greater stability as it travels to the target. This is particularly important to increase the success chances on toughest missions. Some examples of the most used sniper rifles around the world are the British International AWM and the Finnish Sako TRG, both fire .300 Winchester Magnum. There's also the American Remington M24, which uses 7.62 by 51 or 338 Lapua Magnum ammo. The German Blazer R93 Katri, which can fire .223 Remington, 308 Winchester, 300 Winchester Magnum, and .338 Lapua Magnum. The Austrian Steyr SSG 69P1, which uses 7.62 by 51 mm ammunition, and the also American Barrett M82, known as the M107 by the U.S. Army, using the powerful 50 BMG ammo. Alright, now let's talk about sharpshooters, also called marksmen. The soldier who gets this designation, speaking broadly, is a sniper who operates at medium to short ranges and is part of a team. Unlike traditional snipers who work in pairs or on their own, even when part of a military unit on a mission, sharpshooters often briefly move away from the core group to position themselves better in terms of threat observation, target acquisition, and other critical information for the rest of the team following the main mission path. As the team progresses, the sharpshooter adjusts his position accordingly, either rejoining the unit or keeping along a secondary route. Sharpshooters, for the most part, use semi-automatic precision rifles, globally recognized as designated marksman rifles. These firearms are more accurate than assault and battle rifles, but have a shorter range than the bolt action used by snipers. So, DMRs strike a balance, aiding significantly in hitting distant targets beyond the reach of regular unit soldiers, and since they're semi-automatic, they grant greater adaptability to sharpshooters in open-fire situations. Their data collection role is not as heavy as it is for snipers, given that sharpshooters reposition more frequently to avoid becoming easy targets. They also require lighter and more mobile equipment to keep up with their team during missions. A significant number of rifles used by sharpshooters also sport floating barrels, but there are various models with fixed barrels, securely attached at multiple points along their length. Yet these weapons still perform well within the range they operate. Examples of DMRs currently used worldwide include the American Armalite AR-10 Super SAS, Smith & Wesson M14 EBR and M110, and the German HK G28, all using 7.62 by 51 ammo. The Soviet Kalashnikov SVD Dragunov using the 7.62 by 54 cartridge. The Chinese Norinco Cubo 88 using the 5.8 by 42 mm, and the American Knights Armament M110, an evolution of the renowned SR-25, firing 7.62 caliber or 6.5 Creedmoor. It's important to emphasize that even though the elite shooter goes through all sorts of physical and tactical training, having a balanced mental state and a life free of vices is essential. Additionally, they need to receive the necessary psychological training to fulfill their duties. After all, they must become used to the idea that their primary role is to execute perfect shots or get as close to that as possible, nothing less. However, should they inadvertently harm an innocent civilian or falter in their mission to neutralize a threat as ordered, the situation can escalate to the military courts, depending on situation gravity. Now, I'd like to know two things from you in the comments. First, if you were an elite shooter, would you choose the role of a sniper or a sharpshooter? Second, would you have the courage to handle all the pressure and responsibility of eliminating or neutralizing aggressors, knowing that failure could lead to a tragedy? Share your opinion. So I hope this video has satisfied your curiosity on this topic, and a big thanks to you for sticking around. Don't forget to hit the like button and share to show your support. I'll be back soon. A strong embrace, and see you next time.